You know this story. The son of Drona, the warrior who could not be killed in battle, the one who fought on the Kaurava side and survived the entire 18-day war not because he was lucky, but because he was nearly impossible to defeat. Ashwatthama, the last great warrior standing when Kurukshetra ended, the man who committed the most terrible act in the entire Mahabharata and the one character whose story did not end when the epic did. You know it like this. After the war ended and the Pandavas won, Ashwatthama could not accept defeat. In the night while the Pandava camp slept, he crept in and killed everyone he could find. He killed Drishtadyumna, who had killed his father Drona. He killed the 5 sons of Draupadi. He killed nearly everyone in the Pandava camp. He then used the Brahmastra against Uttara, the pregnant wife of Abhimanyu, attempting to destroy the last Pandava heir still in the womb. Krishna stopped the weapon, saved the child, and cursed Ashwatthama to wander the earth forever, alive, unable to die. That is the story you know. Now let me tell you what the text actually shows about why Ashwatthama did what he did, and why his curse is not simply a punishment. It is the Mahabharata's darkest question about what justice actually means. The version of Ashwatthama most people know treats the night massacre as pure villainy. But look at what the Mahabharata records about how Drona, Ashwatthama's father, actually died. Drona was the greatest teacher of his age. He was fighting on the Kaurava side when Krishna devised the plan to break him. An elephant named Ashwatthama was killed in battle. Bhima announced loudly, "Ashwatthama is dead." Drona, horrified, turned to Yudhishthira, the man famous in the entire epic for never telling a lie. He asked, "Is my son dead?" Yudhishthira said, "Ashwatthama is dead." Then, quietly, he added, "The elephant." Krishna had arranged for drums to sound at exactly the moment Yudhishthira said elephant so that Drona could not hear the qualification. Drona believed his son was dead. He lowered his weapons in grief and was killed by Drishtadyumna while defenseless. Ashwatthama's father was killed by a deception, engineered by Krishna, executed by the man famous for never lying, while the drums drowned out the truth. The night massacre happened after this. When Krishna cursed Ashwatthama after the Brahmastra was turned against Uttara's womb, the terms were specific. Ashwatthama would live for 3,000 years, some versions say longer. He would be unable to find human company. The wound where the gem was torn from his forehead would never heal. He would smell of blood and rot. Animals would flee from him. Rivers would dry up when he approached. He would be completely alone. Now think about what this curse actually is. Ashwatthama killed the 5 sons of Draupadi, children who were innocent of anything done to his father. He turned the Brahmastra against an unborn child. These acts went beyond even the terrible logic of war. But the Pandavas had killed his father through deception. They had asked Yudhishthira the Dharmaraj to lie, and he had. The curse does not resolve this, it extends it. Ashwatthama walks the earth still carrying the question the Mahabharata cannot answer cleanly. Where does justified anger end and unforgivable violence begin? And who decides when both sides have broken every rule which breaking is punished and which is not? The Brahmastra was the most powerful weapon in existence, given by Brahma himself. It destroyed everything it was aimed at. There was no defense. Ashwatthama used it against Uttara's womb. The child inside was Parikshit, the last Pandava heir. If he had died, the war would have been meaningless. Every death on both sides, 18 million people, would have produced nothing. Krishna saved the child, but the act of turning the Brahmastra against an unborn being was not just a war crime. It was an attack on continuation itself. And yet Arjuna had also possessed the Brahmastra. When both deployed it against each other, the entire earth trembled. The sages begged them to withdraw. This detail is in the text. He had been taught to deploy the Brahmastra. He had never been taught to recall it, because Drona had not trusted him with the full knowledge. Arjuna withdrew his. Ashwatthama did not know how. His father had given him a weapon he could not control. The Mahabharata is specific about why Drona did not teach Ashwatthama how to recall the Brahmastra. He feared what his son would do with that power. Drona, who loved his son, looked at Ashwatthama and saw someone whose rage was too great to be trusted with complete knowledge. He gave him immense power. He withheld the one piece of wisdom that would have made that power safe. And then he died, and left his son alone with a weapon he could not put down. The act was monstrous, and it was the direct consequence of a father who loved his son without trusting him. The Mahabharata ends. The Pandavas ascend to heaven. Krishna departs the earth. The Kuru dynasty passes into history. Ashwatthama keeps walking. The tradition around Ashwatthama alive across India to this day is unlike anything else in the mythology. There are temples where people leave food for him. There are forests where local people report sightings of a wandering figure with a wound on his forehead that will not close. There are rivers that villagers say change course when he approaches. In the folk traditions of central India, Madhya Pradesh, parts of Rajasthan, Ashwatthama is not a distant mythological figure. He is present, he is local, he is the man who has been walking through these hills for longer than anyone can remember. Doctors in parts of India have reported patients claiming to have encountered him, a tall, ancient figure with a suppurating wound on his forehead, asking for help. The wound never heals, he moves on. The curse is not just immortality, it is witness. Ashwatthama has outlived every person who wronged his father. He has outlived every person who wronged him. He has outlived the dynasties, the cities, the entire civilization that the Mahabharata describes. He is still walking through a world that has completely forgotten what he was walking for. The story of Ashwatthama is the Mahabharata's most uncomfortable story because it has no resolution. Every other character ends, every other arc closes. The Pandavas reach heaven, Krishna departs, the war's consequences play out and finish. Ashwatthama does not finish. He is the Mahabharata's living question mark, the embodiment of everything the epic could not resolve about justice, about proportional response, about what happens when both sides have violated Dharma so completely that right and wrong become impossible to apply cleanly. His father was killed by deception. He killed innocence in response. He was cursed to eternal life. He walks. At no point in this chain is there a clean moment where justice was served. There is a reason this resonates so deeply right now. We live in a world full of cycles of harm where both sides have legitimate grievances and illegitimate methods, where the original wrong is real, where the response is also wrong, where the curse that follows punishes the wrong person, where the wound never heals. Somewhere, according to the tradition, Ashwatthama is still walking through those hills, carrying a wound that will not close, in a world that no longer remembers why. The Mahabharata ended 5,000 years ago. His story did not. Script by Grey Wall Stories. Every wall holds a story. Some walls are still walking.